what's up, man?
It's another Tuesday. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday. Tuesday, sir. Yeah. What's going on, man?
Just finished my work day, so I'm excited to spend some time with you today on the podcast.
Nice. Well, thanks for having me on.
Sure, man. I like how you got this is my girlfriend's room, so all the plants are hers, but I'll take
Hey, man. Hey, guys like plants too, man. I grew up with plants. A lot of these plants my mom gave me when I bought the home, and so I love them, man. You got to have them. I have a bunch of plants all over the house too, so looks good. Does wonders, man. So
what's your ethnicity again?
I'm Filipino.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the last name of Morata is Spanish.
Uh-huh.
So the whole colonization of Spain. I think Spain colonized everybody, though. I think they're all up and down Central and South America, brought all their wonderful diseases, but they also brought good things, man. Christianity and reading, right? Reading, Christianity, irrigation, water, roads, so good and bad.
For sure. I had a good friend named Thomas Haley, and he was Filipino, and he'd go back there every year, and he'd bring these like counterfeit jerseys, like basketball, like football jerseys. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
He's a good friend.
Nice. You can do that in Asia. That you can get that stuff for cheap, man. It's like, a friend of mine would bring back watches that were impeccable. Sell them for a couple $100, but it was either that or you pay 10 grand, 15, 20 grand to watch. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. So
so I'm gonna hit record here in a second. I sent you a couple questions, and I thought that I didn't think any of those were too incriminating.
Yeah. Nothing to hide.
I've always liked talking to you at the event, specifically about the work that you do. And
sure.
I want to get into that, but the first couple minutes are going to just be, hey, how's your week going? Oh, plants in the background, your family, your upbringing. And then we'll get into what you do for work. And at the end of this, if there's a way for me to send you the link or send you the raw videos for you to chop up or create marketing for yourself, I'm happy to do that. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool. Okay.
Sounds good.
Go ahead and record then. 3, 2, hold up. Where's record at?
What? So what do you so how do you have a website or something, or some sort of marketing company that you put your webcast in?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel where I have my podcasts.
Cool.
And so you'll be on there. I'm gonna edit it and create like a 40-minute video based on how long our conversation is, maybe 30. And sure. I'll send you that link. Is that cool?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I just uploaded video to my YouTube channel. I only got 2 videos. It's it's about cars.
Sweet.
But yeah, man, I haven't gotten into the whole what do you call that, influencer thing yet, with social media and the videos and such. But I see it's a thing, right? A lot of folks making money on TikTok, YouTube and such,
Yeah, we're already going. So you like cars a lot. Did you get into that when you were younger, or I'll be honest with you, man. My mom was she got me into it. So my mom and dad were divorced when I was pretty young, and to live with my mom. My mom joined the military after she got divorced, and basically she always bought a new car, and we always had a nice car growing up. And then, I like the movies like A Cannonball Run. And I remember, what was that movie with Harrison Ford? American Graffiti, Cannonball Run, Smokey and the Bandit, so I'm aging myself now with these movies. Stop it. When I was younger, it was all about the Batmobile. That was when like Batman Returns came out, like early 90s.
Yeah.
And that wasn't, a stock car you could get. But then like when I was a 12 or 13, my parents didn't let me watch movies. So I was able to catch up and watch all these movies I wasn't allowed to. And, like the Blues Brothers, that car inside that, not exactly performance. But then growing up, it was like Fast and Furious, Paul Walker and those guys. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, to be honest with you, man, when Fast and Furious came out, I was like living that lifestyle, you know. So it's funny to see it in a movie. You know, it's funny to see it actually in a movie where, you know, me and all my friends were, that was our lifestyle. I mean, we weren't driving under semis, but you know, when you'd see a group of cars going 120 miles an hour on 294, that was us, man. You know, and it's funny because you know, I got in a lot of trouble doing that. You know, I got in a lot of trouble doing that. I lost my license for a while, and then, you know, finally got it back. I've had it back now for 20 some odd years, but you know, that movie is I mean, that was real, man. That was a like a culture, you know, and you still see it nowadays on the news, you know, with all these friggin' idiots that are, you know, shutting down streets and stuff like in the movies. But now that I'm an old man, you know, I'm not into that anymore, you know.
Well, you live young, Jesse. I always like that about you. This is a
Yeah.
conversation about motivation and, you know, personal development. And, you know, you're someone that I go to these events with, and I can tell your energy is like radiant. You're interested in meeting new people.
Oh yeah.
Before we get into the podcast on the car thing, I saw in San Jose, California, there was a big like arrest where people that were watching the street races were getting arrested too. That was like last weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man. I'm out. I'm completely out of it. You know, I'm more into like luxury, and you know, back in the day it was like the super loud exhaust. And now it's I want my car completely quiet. All right. Like your Tesla.
Yeah, I got a Tesla.
So,
it's funny,
yeah.
about 2-3 years ago, when I'd go to the superchargers, there'd be like one other car there. And now most of them are almost all full. And that just shows how many more are on the road. People kind of caught on. So
Yeah,
maybe
I'm looking to get one. Yeah.
Maybe I was early, but when it comes down to it, it's not about me. It's an awesome product, and it's super quiet, super fast. I like going fast. So
Yeah, you're the man, brother. You're the man. There's something exhilarating about it. You know, I read that the addiction to speed is like 6 times more powerful than the addiction to heroin. You know, so I get it. It took me a long time to get away from that because it's dangerous, man. I got kids, I own a home, have a business, have clients that are relying on me. I can't be, you know, getting arrested for drag racing. And now they just give you tickets, they mail you tickets, and then they come impound your car. So no more for me, man. You know, I'm trying to get rid of the Mustang, but yeah, the lady's like, no, don't get rid of it. It's an heirloom that you can pass down. I'm like, all right, fine. So,
yeah.
But I'm looking to get a Lucid. I like to lease a Lucid next year. You know, a Sapphire. Yeah.
I get served the ads on Facebook for a Lucid, and it's like you can get to Chicago to Toronto in one charge, 600-mile range, and I don't even know how they do that because the Tesla is much shorter.
Yeah. I mean, it's a newer technology, but we'll see. I mean, a lot of different brands. I think every brand is coming out with something electronic. So, you know,
it sure took a while. It's Lucid.
Yeah. I mean, it's about time. You know, thanks to Tesla, right? I mean, you know, they pretty much made it mainstream, and you know, the brand again. I remember seeing them at Oakbrook Terrace, and I'm like, I gotta get one. You know, I want one of these, and it was just always out of reach. You know, but now that everybody's coming out with something, I'd like to get something. You know, so the next car is definitely going to be electric.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah,
I love your business card because it's a check, right? And you have your name's on it or their name's on it. It's like what you do is you give people access to capital, right? Am I understanding that right? And you take someone who might be in a situation where they need certain terms or certain timelines to happen, and you get that done for them, right? Or you might offer them a couple of different options.
Right.
I would love to hear more about kind of what got you into that earlier in your career, what educated you on the need for that, and tell me more about that industry.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. So, you know, my firm is a debt advisory firm. We're a debt advisory firm, capital advisory firm. And what we do is consult for small business owners and real estate investors who are looking to get capital. And let's face it, you know, when I run a business, like even running a business, I don't have time to shop for, you know, or even Google, you know, capital. I mean, Google capital, Google commercial loan, and you'll get 200 pages. And the problem with that is for each one that you inquire with, you know, they're going to run your credit. So it's conceivable that the first day you're going to get three dings on your credit, and that'll bring your score down. So what we do is, we'll use a credit service for a company or an investor, and most of our lenders will use that. And being in the business for so long, I mean, I started into business in 1998 as a mortgage broker. So I had a background in sales.
Yep.
And essentially in 98, there was somewhat of a boom going on, a refi boom, so to speak. And I interviewed with a company downtown, and I took their sales aptitude battery. And I didn't think I was going to get it. It was a very prestigious firm at Halstead and Van Buren. Capital Mortgage was a company.
Yep.
Super rich Jewish kids. I love these guys, man. Just because you never think. And they were just a little bit older than me. I was in my mid 20s, 24 maybe. These guys are 27, 28, and just fun, rich, just happy Jewish kids, right? And I take the test, and within an hour they call me back, and I'm actually on the metro on my way back to like Gurnee. And they call me and say, hey, we scored the highest we've ever seen in on the test. And really it's because I had so much sales background in between. I was training under like Brian Tracy and Tom Hopkins, to sell. And before then I had sold like vacuum cleaners and, other things. I was either in inside, outside retail, one way or another. So I learned how to engage prospective client, so that's how I got into it. They taught everything from the ground up, specifically for mortgages, everything that we needed to know. And really it's just financial analysis. And this is before, you can get an app on mortgage. I mean, the best way to do it was through a mortgage broker, because banks were very specific then about, who they were going to give mortgages to, right? In comes the mortgage broker with access to hundreds of different lenders. And really that's how we got into finance, was that way, was financing real estate, was as a mortgage broker. Did that for 12 years. And right around the crash, I mean, I stayed in for a couple of years after the crash from 08 to 10, and then got into financial products. So I got licensed as an insurance producer, and then took the test for, your other products, financial products. Fast forward to 2015, I after running it was a financial firm. I was a what do we call this? Agency manager for Transamerica, and essentially did that for a few years. Opened up my own brokerage, and then I really, insurance isn't for me. I mean, a lot of my friends do insurance. They love it. The money pays fast, but it wasn't for me. And so I got back into finance, doing commercial lending, and never looked back. So that was 2015 when I opened up my firm, and never looked back. But so what I do is we consult for business owners and real estate investors, developers, and builders who are out in the field. They're building homes, right? They're either building homes or remodeling homes, or constructing buildings, or busy trying to run their business. And so we do everything. We know exactly what lenders do what, with what credit scores, what loan amount, what states. And of course, we have some clients that may have, a checkered background, whether it was either DUI or whatnot. And regardless, we have lenders that will do that. We know the lenders. So being in the business for 24 years, I've built a pretty large network of, capital sources. As a matter of fact, we just signed on with a hedge fund. This gentleman's a manager for 2 hedge funds, and they're based out of Miami. And, I just sent up about 7 deals for them. So, we have the sources for it. So, versus, let's say you're running a business versus you going in your bank, and then, because they're not going to coach you, they're not going to coach you on what you need. They're just going to give you docs to fill out. If it's incomplete, you're denied. If your credit score is too low, you're denied. If you have to write a letter and it's not right, you're denied. We know exactly what the lender's looking for, the wording, we know pretty much from, front to back top to bottom, what they're looking for. And because we have such a strong relationship, I mean, you close millions of dollars worth of volume through, a private equity group in New York, and they get to know your work and your deal type, and they'll start to bend over backwards for you. So, we have that relationship, and we pass that on to our clients. Now we don't get everything done, but we're probably like a 60%, maybe 70% closing ratio. Not everybody's going to have the best credit or the best experience or the best project for that matter, but we're closing 6 out of 10 of our deals, 7 out of 10 depending on the month and how the economy's doing.
Got it.
So,
I heard a couple of things there. So you started with some sort of a base of knowledge with that class. You took a test and you were high in the sales score. I heard, sold vacuum cleaners.
I did. I sold Kirby's. Yeah. And I won some trips.
Yeah. I mean, one of my first interviews was for like selling the Cutco knives.
Yeah.
And I quickly realized what that was all about. And so I ran like a bat out of hell out of there, but I got that job and everything. And whether it's that or selling, back in the 90s was like encyclopedias. There's a very certain skill to learn there. And if you can get it and you can apply that to other industries, it's the same thing, right? Like, how do you build value? How do you learn what the customer wants? Like you said, like no one's going to coach you. It just takes volume of like, how many of these have you been through? But then for the second part of what I heard was more specialized knowledge of capital and, how just years and years of you networking and getting, I would imagine 50 to 100 different people you can call in any given moment that have access to capital for people that might have a perfect, pristine background or checkered, right? Like,
sure.
That's just a numbers game,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, what I got to say about networking is I hated cold calling, and I've had jobs where I had to cold call. There were telephone marketing, or telemarketing, and I hated it. I just thought that there was things missing when you're telemarketing. I'm sure it's a numbers game with telemarketing. You're going to get a certain return, right? But there's something to be said about meeting someone in person and creating that rapport and that bond to the point that, you want to follow up, and that's the best part about networking. That's how I built my business, going back to the early 2000s when, I'm a few years into the business, newlywed, just had a child. And, I'm really just a few years into the mortgage business. And I hated cold calling, man. I couldn't get past, calling leads. I did okay, to the point where, it propelled my career in this area of finance. But I recall distinctly, pounding the pavement. And at the end of the day, walking into my last cold call, where actually it was a visit with a realtor. And this was in the north side, right around Rogers Park. I actually looked at the building, turned around, figured, I'm done, I'll quit. But then I turned back around and went in there. And the gal I spoke to invited me to a networking event. It was like a financial planner networking event.
Yep.
And met a CPA there who happened to have 2,000 clients. We hit it off, and he sent me all my clients. So from 2000 and about 2006, this guy literally was feeding me deals from all of his clients, and never asked for anything in return. And I did well, and I realized from there that networking is the best way, in my opinion, and I'm speaking from experience, to generate leads. And this isn't direct to consumer leads, because you'll get that one business owner or two business owners looking for capital, right? But what you will get out of networking is you're going to find a great referral partner. Whether, for myself, would be like a CPA, residential mortgage broker, could be a business consultant, financial advisor, and they'll send you deals. So for me, that's how we get all of our businesses, through partner industries, so that's how I get it. And it keeps us busy. Even now, we're busy now with rates the way they are. We're still busy. One of the gals I met at a Tony P event, Miss, I'll say her name because she's awesome. I love her to death. Miss Jamie Block. She and this was recently, she sent me a deal, nice size business acquisition deal, including real estate. And, we're moving along nicely. We're able to, get over some obstacles, and, I owe it to networking. Matter of fact, all my deals I got really are they come from networking.
Yeah,
So,
I'm in the middle of a shift where I used to be someone that would be emailing people and then cold calling. I'd never mind cold calling, but it was hard. But you would still get people that would pick up the phone and answer, and then maybe 1 out of 10 would say, I'll take another meeting. At that point, I spend an hour to get one meeting. It's painful, but it's still worth it. Nowadays, people don't really have desk phone, at least in my industry in software. People are scattered all over the place, and their cell phone is what they have. And it's tougher to get someone on the phone that has just a 10-digit number, They're like, who is this? Ignore the call. So I'm trying to understand more about how to get referrals, how to ask for referrals, how to leverage my network, because I need specific people at specific companies that have specific problems, right? It's a much smaller sample size. However, I'm not ready to put my hands up and say I can't get anything from this. I'm just taking a look at what might I be able to be applied in the software space with what you're saying. So that's
right now. Yeah. So what works, man? What works for me, and I learned this early on, is that you want to genuinely have a good relationship with whoever you want to do business with, because I've learned people want to do business with who they like. I mean, I know a bunch of realtors, but the ones that I like are gonna get the business. And I try to share the love where I rotate it, so one realtor gets one and the next realtor gets another, and so on and so forth. But what I find is at these networking events, once you make that contact and build that rapport, reach out to them, go grab some lunch. I mean, I like going to, there's a spot in West Loop, Southbridge, that's right on the lake, river, right? It's right on the river. Food's great. There's like a membership club, app type rewards program they give you, but it's an awesome place to go have lunch, and you could take the trains right next to the train stations where you could have lunch. But the point is you build that rapport, and then you build that foundation, and then they start to, they'll come around one way or another. I mean, right before COVID, I went to a networking event in 2010, met a guy named Greg Maddox. Awesome guy. Awesome dude. Right. Has a financial firm. They're a business consulting firm. He called me in 2020 and asked me if I was still in lending and if I was familiar with all the SBA programs. And we were able to assist a lot of his clients with some of the SBA programs, and it saved them during COVID, and how that came about was networking, and we never really stayed in touch, but he remembered meeting me 10 years earlier and referred some of his clients to us for, some consulting, some assistance with those SBA programs. So we helped a lot of businesses. We got some glaring reviews, which I really need to start asking for, I guess, some of these reviews for Google and Yelp and such, but I haven't, got I haven't become an expert in that yet, although I should,
One thing I've heard you said the last few minutes, there were 2 people that in the last few minutes that you said, hey, that was a really important connection, right?
Yeah.
And I just wonder, based on the amount of networking you do, the amount of events, is it just a numbers game to get to those really important people? Or do you try to just not even think of it like that? Tell me more about that, right? Like, those people are important because you were the right guy at the right time. You built that relationship, a human to human relationship first before you asked for something. But how do you view finding the next Block or Maddox,
Sure. So you got first and foremost, when you view networking, I view it as work and marketing and prospecting. Like, first and foremost, I'm going out because I never know who I'm going to meet, but it's very important that I support, Greg and Tony's ventures. I know that, they always put on the best events, man. And you've been to them. They're awesome, man. I remember when we started in 2017, he'd have it so packed with the upper echelon of professionals. who are just trying to have a good time. I remember one of his events, like one of his first ones was like Concrete Cowboy, and that thing was packed. It must have been
I
like
remember
100.
it,
Yeah, right. That was a great event. And first and foremost, it was fun. It was a great time. Let's face it, man, work is work. It's hard, right? But when you get to mingle and have a good time and rub some elbows and have a couple drinks with some of these other upper echelon professionals, right? It's a good time. And out of that, you're going to get some referrals because they like you. Like, hey, I know someone. We have a guy for that. I have a guy for that. I just met someone. And that's how business comes out. And when you go networking, so I look forward to seeing you, right? And Tony and Greg and, Sean Johnson and Kurt Stalling and Darius Walls and all the other guys. So I know I'm never going to be alone if I go. All right. So first and foremost, you're going to meet someone and you're going to see him over and over again, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, and you become friends, and even if it's just networking, because let's face it, man, the older you get, it's going to be harder to go out, right? You're not going to go to the bars many times, but these events are, somebody sets it up. People are going to be there, folks that and we're all at this point either in business or some sort of in sales, and someone knows somebody. So you're going to get it. And it's countless the amount of leads or clients we get on a referral basis. Like even that Greg Maddox gentleman, he with Cultivate Advisors, he referred me to rest of his office. So we got a lot of leads from them throughout the country for just loans during COVID, and it helped save our business. So we're able to pivot. But so back to the networking. When I go, I never look at it as work. And it used to be I guess nerve-wracking when you go to an event because you don't know anyone. And this was back in like 2010. When I started doing the Chicago networking scene, and I started running into Tony P, and Jim Miller was having his network after work, and there was what was it, network and social, and you don't really know anybody. Now fast forward 12 years later, and it's hard to go to an event and not know not one person, but you're always going to know someone, and it's always a good time, and out of it you're going to get business. So it's kind of like 50% professional social, and the other 50% is lead generation. So I look at it as a fun time, and out of that I get business. That's hard to beat, man. How are you gonna be able to go out and have a good time as well as generate leads? So that's how I view networking. So some people don't like it though. Some people they don't want to leave the comforts of their office, and when they're done working, and it's work from 9 to 5, and there's no networking to them doesn't make any sense, or it's just painful for them to meet new people. Where when you go to networking, man, not only do you have a name tag, right, but everybody else does too, and it's just as simple as saying, hey Nick, how you doing, man? I see we're with Prime Software Company, tell me about that. And that's it, man. That's how you make your contact.
Yeah, so it's not even about like viewing it a certain way or like
Right.
trying to do something. You just go out, you recognize it's work, but you also try not to think of it as work. You know what I mean? That's
right.
I heard you say both of those things at once, but I think they can both exist at the same time, because it being something is it, but you also you want it to be something that you want to do. And if you look at it like that's a valuable thing I'm grateful for, at that point it becomes a lot of fun, and it's something that you can really sink your feet into.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it kind of breaks up the week. Thankfully, you don't have a lot of Monday events because it's so hard to get away on Monday. But Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, which are typically the networking event nights, if you make the effort to get out, it will pay off. I mean, will it pay off in the first event? Maybe, but it will pay off. I mean, it's, for me, number one lead generation that you can. To me, that's the most effective for the money. And if Tony P and Greg are going to bring folks together, all right, and from various industries, whether it's law or construction or retail, whatever it is, software, sales, you're going to know someone that needs something. So I mean, I try to do business primarily with folks I meet networking, I try to make sure they benefit as well. And if they, for example, if they have a product that I happen to know someone needs, I'm definitely going to refer them. So it's great to get a thank you from someone you met networking that you sent them, a lead or a client or a deal. It's just feels good, and it definitely comes back. I'd never expect anything back. Some folks want to pay, but it's like, no, man, it's going to come back. It'll come back around. And, network for me is paid, so it does well. I mean, it doesn't hurt that my industry is capital, it's money, where it's always going to be, a necessity. Inevitably someone at some point is going to need it, which, works well for me. I'm going to be in the right place at the right time networking. But
well, this is a shining review and a shining thumbs up for networking in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, man. I can't, say enough about it. And the last 2 weeks have been really slow because I try to get at least one in a week. But we have, I think it's a good problem to have, right? We have so much volume that I'm putting in 8 to 10 hours a day, just, analyzing financials and getting it to the right lender, properly structured and being able to sell it, correctly to them. Because you send a deal wrong, and not only are you going to look like a joke, but they're going to want to see less of your deals, not want to do business with you. So it's like going to a restaurant and the food's not good the first time. Chances are you're not gonna want to dine there again, regardless of what kind of referral you got from them. So the last couple weeks been slow with networking, but Greg invited me to an event tomorrow, which looks good. I'm just hoping I can get some of this, some of these files. I got a $12 million Orlando refi I gotta get through, and it's got a lot of hair on it, but they came highly referred. They're referred by a top like financial, like a wealth advisor, wealth manager in New York. And it's just a lot of work. I feel like Elon Musk.
I think that what you're saying is important because you're saying that there is real work to do. You got to get down to the hair of the deal.
Oh yeah,
10 to 12-hour days. Skip the networking event because that's where you make your money, is getting the deal through.
Right. Absolutely.
So everyone I bring on, I ask a question. For you, I'd love to hear maybe one or two. Just imagine the craziest deal you've done or the biggest deal, like you said, the Orlando deal. What has kind of blown you away with the capital market and the debt financing industry?
Well, I have a few stories, and they're all crazy. None of these are, they're similar but not the same. I had a client referred to me from networking. I met someone networking. He knew someone, referred me to client. We did a business loan. We did 2 business loans for him, and he was looking to expand. This is a gentleman out of North Carolina. Nice guy. Good old Southern guy. Good guy, right? He starts construction on his new location, right? Has some raw land, has some money to throw around, and just starts construction, building his new restaurant. Well, that's a no-go really in this business if you're trying to get financing, because they want to see what your plans are. All the lenders, for the most part, want to see what your plans are, want to see what your budget is, what your expenses is, your revenues, everything. They want to see everything. So the thing was, I started this in, I think it was January of 18 or 19.
And will they ask you for your personal finances, your personal debt, credit card debt, or just to the business?
So, every loan starts off, the basis for every loan will be your personal credit. The basis, I mean, they want to know who you are and how long you've had credit, what do you have outstanding, if you pay your bills to begin with, and if your scores are a certain amount. Usually used to be 600, then 620, 650. Now it's high 600s. This market commands higher 600 scores, but you always look at personal credit first, so that's what they look at. Personal credit. You will need your personal financial statement, because behind every business is a warm body. All right. It's a human borrower is what they're looking for. So who is that guarantor? Yep. You can't be on any list, right? Or have any financial crimes, and you can't have any, you gotta be a person of good character, basically what you're looking at. I mean, I've had a couple clients with DUIs that, we had to dig deep for stuff, from stuff like 10, 12, 15 years ago, for a loan now, I mean, they had to go back to court and basically explain everything, and this is a couple clients. So, I mean, DOI is not the best, but it's also not the worst, in my opinion, as long as it's just a ticket, so to speak. I mean, I'm no way, condoning that, but some of these lenders, we know which ones will take what and will approve what, so. But with that said, your personal character and your credit is what they look at first. So,
So this guy was trying to, he started construction on the building, and they said,
right.
Hey, wait a minute.
I need more money. Right.
You guys need to make sure that you're someone that can get the loan before they're just going to loan you the money. Right.
Correct. Right. Yeah. And they want to know, most lenders want to know that you have a plan, a business plan, pro forma projections, what your income is, what you're going to spend. So your use of funds. Anyway, we start shopping this deal. We have some interested parties, like 2 interested lenders who, they drag you along for about 2 months and say, no, you can't do it. So it was literally turned down about 30 times, and, I know this guy's story. I mean, his, he, during this time, his daughter was killed in a car accident, right? And then his wife left him, right? So, and I guess all his contractors, his crew, are all threatened to leave. His vendors are all threatening him down his neck, telling him they're going to put liens on his property. And I'm hearing, I swear to you, man, we talked every single day the whole year in 2018. And, regardless of what time it was, I mean, it could be 11 o'clock at night, and this guy is like screaming in my ear and just laying into me for not getting it closed or not having closed yet. I'm having to hear this guy. Even the lady was like, dude, why do you put up with that? I'm like, because I know where he's at. I trust that I can get this done. Fast forward like 9 months later, we get a good lender, private equity firm that I use my network to get in New York. And we end up getting it done, man. I mean, and it's coming on. Wow, is it really going to be 4 years this Thanksgiving? Anyways, right around Thanksgiving, we get it clear to close on his loan, and just to realize what this guy's went through. His stepdaughter was killed. Wife leaves him, for 11 months. I'm having near stories about how his concrete guy, his asphalt guy are all breathing down his neck, putting liens on his, wanting to put liens on his property and then to pull it off and get it done. And we closed this $2 million deal. Then I hear from a year later, he calls me. So, I mean, we still stay in contact, but he tells me he's that first year was rough, but then COVID hits and the SBA, paused his payments, plus gave him idle money, plus gave him payroll protection money. And, I think they waived like whatever he was behind. And, last I heard a few months ago, he was kicking ass. I mean, excuse the French, but he was doing well. But that was pretty rocky. And that kind of built the foundation for me too, to know that, listen, there's a way to get this done. You can't quit. We had a lot of lenders quit on that. And I know a lot of folks who are colleagues with who said that I wasn't going to be able to get it done. It was just a matter of, finding someone and then, selling them. Oh, we packaged it right. We packaged it correctly and made it look good. We polished up his business plan, his projections, and, added some pretty pictures to his business plan and executive summary. And, we were able to sell it and get it done, so it was good. It was a good Christmas that year for all of us.
Yeah. I love the fact that people said you couldn't do it, still did it. You talked to him every single day. I work in enterprise sales, which is like a 9 to 12 month sales cycle. Yeah, and it's really hard. Like even today, I'm like having a rough day. I'm like, God, but this, I realize none of the deals I've done get closed in less than, 4 months. Right. I've been at my current company for 4 months. So just keep on doing, do your work, and eventually it'll come to fruition,
Yeah. Yeah. And as a fellow person in sales, fellow sales professional, I got to tell you, brother, you got to keep on keeping on, man, because quitting is not going to get you what you want, and you asked me something. It was at a couple networking events ago. It might have been a Clutch. I don't recall. Or was it Bounce? Is it Bounce? Bloom? Right?
Might have
Okay,
been Bloom.
I think Bounce, yeah.
Yeah. And you just said what's like a main motivator. And for me, it's material possession. You know, like I really need to do some remodeling in my house. And I know it's gonna cost. I'm gonna need, 50 grand at least to get it done. And that's what motivates me also. Taking trips, so it's not really the money. Like, you're gonna make some money, right? But it's not the amount in the bank that's motivating. It's that lifestyle that it buys, right? Like we've grown accustomed to going to Miami and Vegas a couple times a year, and I'd hate to miss that, this year or next year. So it's like in the back of my mind, like, all right, well, I like to go to Miami Beach, 2nd of January. So what do I need to do now? How much money do you need to have to save and still have enough to do vacation and all that good stuff. So, so for me, it's like, it's that fun lifestyle, I guess, or good time lifestyle.
I personally love gambling. I love going to Vegas and sports gambling.
Yeah, I like to, it sounds cheesy, but I love like the whole aura and the excitement. I'm not a big gambler, and I learned that the first time in Vegas when I blew all my money the first time I went. And I don't know if you ever saw that movie, Go. It was like a I was like the dude who blew all his money walking around the casino asking his friends to spot him money. And ever since then, man, I'm not into gambling. But Vegas is fun, man. If you like to eat, shop, look at beautiful people, look at all the sights, and it's a good time. Vegas is a good time. But I really like the beach in the wintertime too. Yeah. So that's what's motivating.
I'll take a page out of your book. It's not about the money, it's about what the money buys you, right? And that's
absolutely. And don't get me wrong, it's good to save for retirement, but I can't admit, because I hear a lot of people in my age group. I'm in the late 40s, man. I'm 48, and I hear a lot of people in my age group talking about retirement and such. And I think it's great to have a lot of money at 65, but to be old and feeble and wealthy, it sounds good, but I think to be in your 40s or 30s or whatever and still have a good time, that's what you're going to remember, I think. And I think my plan is really just have everything paid off to where I don't have a lot of expenses and but enjoy life. That's really my main motivation is enjoy life, be able to have my kids enjoy life. Really that's why I work, really, is for enjoyment.
No one will argue with that. Enjoying life is a noble cause.
Yeah, man. It keeps you, it's good for the soul, I think, so, and it's good too. I think a lot of people need to learn how to enjoy life more, even when the chips are down, man. Like even nowadays, when if I'm having a hard day, like I think it was last week or week before last, I just had some deals fall out. And this is my Christmas money, man. This is like Miami money, and the deals fell out, and it was just a rough day. And rather than beat myself up, and you say some certain things to yourself, like I hate to admit it, but I did say, dude, you're a loser. You can't close anything. And then I had to quickly check myself and say, you shut up, man. STFU, all right. I've been here before, and it's, I have enough deals to know that if 2 or 3 are going to fall out, I have 10 others that I should be working on, that I shouldn't be thinking about these other ones. So focus on what you can control, focus on the positives, and what is it? Keep your eye on the prize, man. Keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on the prize, and go get it, man. Don't fail. Right.
All right. So, well, thanks for coming on, Jesse. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, thanks for that. It's just fun, man. I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, I'm too busy. I can't do this. But it's, you make a commitment, you got to do it, right?
So. Yeah. Thank you for being open to it. 45 minutes of your life. You motivated.
Yeah, I loved it. This is cool. And, it's good to talk. Hey, man, I know you're in sales, and we should go grab a drink and chit chat, man. I got to get your personal info and text and call and give me a shout, man. See where you're at.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Give me a couple days. I'll edit this thing. I'll send it to you, and all the folks out there that you want to evangelize your work and how you view things, feel free to share that. So thanks again for coming on.
All right. Hey, man, good talking, buddy. It's good hanging out.
All right. Talk to you later, Jesse. Bye.
Thanks.